Welcome to another video, and this one's got us continuing our time here in Port Lincoln, and we go into the National Park of Port Lincoln as well as Whalers Way, and from there we go over to Coffin Bay. And Coffin Bay, beautiful area. That's one area that we wanted to come down to whilst we're on the peninsula, and there's so much to see over there. Coffin Bay National Park, and then we do the coast up just north of Coffin Bay. And so many bays there. It's a beautiful place to be. So we've got all that to show you and very much more, all in this video. So hope you enjoy it. I'm Mick, and this is Sally. Together we've been caravanning Australia since the 1980s, and more recently we started to put the videos together just to show you some of what we see out there. There's a lot to see in Australia, and we hope you enjoy what we have here to show you. You can follow us on our trips via the following social media platforms. Full day today to first go out to Whalers Way, and then on our way back to Port Lincoln, go into the Lincoln National Park. The heavy rain clouds were still hanging about as we made our way out to Whalers Way, but we were hoping that they would burn off as the day progressed. There are two ways that you can gain entry into Whalers Way. The first one is to go to the information centre and pay an entry fee and a deposit on a key which will open the gate for you, and then you must return that key later to regain your deposit. The second way was the way that we did it, and we purchased our entry fee online, and that gave us a code which opened up a security box and gave us access to the key, and that allowed us to open the gate and proceed on our way. Whalers Way has some very pretty coastline, and I must admit that on the day that we were out there, because it was so cloudy, if you were to rate the area out of 10, you would have to give it a 2 or a 3 on the day that we were there on this occasion, but having been there on a sunny day in previous visits, you would give it a 10 out of 10. For those that like to take photos, there are so many advantage points that you can gain easy access to capture that photo that you want. All the roads that are in Whalers Way, or that will allow you to traverse around Whalers Way, are dirt, and most of them are suitable for a conventional motor car. In saying that, not all of them are. The little roads that take you into each of these lookouts you need to be careful of when you go in, and we had a feeling on this one, and when we reached the rise here, we knew that we'd done the right thing by stopping at the top. As we walked over to the top down here to go and have a look from the side of the cliff, once we turned around and come back the other way, we realised that we'd made the right thing by stopping at the top. Travelling on your own in these sort of situations, you don't want to try and get up something like this and struggle all day to get there. We drove in on all the roads that took us to the lookouts, and unfortunately on the overcast day that we had today, this was one of those lookouts, and I think it was the only one that we had on the day that wasn't really worth visiting. After a quick look, it was a turnaround, and then we started to make our way out. The road that we're on now was very rough and rocky, and a lot of reefs were sticking up, so in reality a good high clearance vehicle was needed to come down here. If you bring a conventional motor car, you would need to take a great deal of care. The waves that were crashing in onto the rocks here were absolutely spectacular to watch as they broke into white water. The crevice was one location that the cloudy day that we had today didn't do it justice. This one, when you watch it when the sun's shining, and particularly if the sun is above and shining down into the crevice, it's absolutely beautiful. It's only a short walk from the car park down to the crevice lookout, and from there you can see directly down in as the water washes up through the crevice. As we go along the coastline here, we've got these rugged cliffs, and at the top of the cliffs it turns into sandhills. The amount of sand that must get moved around on a windy, dry day here would be phenomenal. As we made our way around these sandhills, it was amazing how spectacular they could look to the naked eye. From Whalers Way, it was 2/3 of the way back towards Port Lincoln before we did that right-hand turn and went into the Lincoln National Park. Like all national parks in South Australia, there is an entry fee to gain entry into the national park. Not all the roads within the national park are bitumen, as there is a lot of gravel road to go with it. As we made our way around the national park, it was surprising the number of protected bays that were there, and in those bays there were some very nice beaches as well. It's always great when you go into an area where you pay an entry fee to get into that area and you see that money's being spent on infrastructure, and this national park was no exception. For those that wish to camp out in the national park, there are designated camping areas, and as we drive around here, you'll see that it's quite popular indeed. Most of these camping areas, if not all, are located near a very nice beach. As we drove into the national park, we went up to the north-northeast corner, and that's the part that took it past Donington Beach, and here we are now coming up to the Cape Donington Lighthouse. Immediately once you pass the lighthouse, it brings you up to a turnaround or car park here, and that allows you to get out and have a look at the surrounding area. With some orange rocks and plenty of wildflowers, it was such a pretty area to be in. With the weather starting to warm up today, and as we walk through these bushes, we're always on the lookout for snakes. Not being able to get into Memory Cove today as we had have wished, we finished up here at what they call West Wanna Lookout, and what a beautiful sight it was. It was now time to leave Port Lincoln, and we started to make our way over to Coffin Bay, and that was an area that we wanted to stay at earlier on, but with the long weekend and the bad weather, there was no bookings available. With the blue skies on our travelling day today, we were hoping for a beautiful couple of days over in Coffin Bay, because that was the main reason, or one of the main reasons for us coming on this trip. G'day everyone, and we've arrived at Coffin Bay, and we're going to set ourselves up in the Caravan park, and it'll be for 2 nights. Beautiful weather. Hopefully it stays that way for our time here. Coffin Bay Caravan Park would be what I would call your typical country caravan park, although it is listed for going through some major upgrades, and they're hoping that in the future they'll have more level sites and everything that the traveller needs. No doubt during the time of the previous long weekend that we've just had, this place would have been buzzing with people everywhere. We had heard and seen on other YouTube channels about all the emus around Coffin Bay, and I reckon there was a few resident ones that were here at the Caravan Park all the time, and even Dad here with his chicks. It's just great to see. When the sun's shining and the water's so blue, a scenic flight around the bays of Coffin Bay and the associated areas would have to be a great experience to take part of. Coffin Bay is renowned for its oysters, and if you're an oyster lover, you would have to sample them whilst you're in the area. When you walk around on the lawns here, as you do in the Caravan Park, you need to be very careful of these emu paddies. I'm sure they'd be a mess if you put your foot into them. With the recent bad weather that we'd been having, we were very lucky to enjoy the weather that we did whilst we were at Coffin Bay. Must be a fisho's paradise over here if you had a boat, and all these bays. It'd just be terrific to be able to get out there for a while. With the protected waters of the bay, it would have to make it very easy to bring in a boat from the outside waters and tie it up to its moorings. Two pelicans enjoying the calm water, but they didn't trust me at all. It was when we started to make our way out into the Coffin Bay National Park that we realised that we left our Max Tracks home, and we were not very happy at all, and that meant that we could no longer go right into the national park as we wanted to, because travelling alone, you didn't want to be stuck in sand and not be able to get yourself out. Leaving the Max Tracks homes wasn't the end of the world, luckily for us, because there are some good bitumen roads out within the national park that still allows you to go out and see some very beautiful locations. The first area that we had a look at was called Point Avoid Lookout, and with the blue water and the white waves, it was certainly a pretty area to be in. More wildflowers just seem to thrive in the harsh conditions. The main areas that we're going to look at on this trip were all within close proximity of each other. When we arrived here at the Golden Island Lookout and we looked down along Anemoia Beach, we thought, wow, what a location. With such a pretty sight to look down along the island as well as the beach, we couldn't wait to get down onto the white sand and have a real good look. Anemoia Beach is a fishing beach, and the car park here is well set up with toilets and picnic tables and shelters that will give you shade. As we made our way down the steps that were going to take us down onto the beach, we really started to kick ourselves at this stage that we didn't bring our Max Tracks with us, because if we've got a beach like this, we don't know, this may be the best beach on Coffin Bay, who knows, but it really made us realise that we were going to miss out on something by not being able to go further into the national park. Is Anemoia Beach the nicest beach within the Coffin Bay National Park? If you're an experienced Coffin Bay National Park visitor, just leave me a note down below, because I'd love to hear that, if there's something better that next time when we're in the area we need to go and have a look at. with the clear sky up above and the beautiful stand down on the beach. You needed to wear sunnies down here. I didn't have mine on and I was paying the price, but it was very glary but very pretty. After spending considerable time at Anemoia Beach, it was time to make our way back out of the national park, and it was Avoid Bay that we thought we'd call in and have a look as we went past. Avoid Bay is another bay that's very protected and offers a great sheltered beach. After leaving Avoid Bay, we found another single lane road, and that was going to take us down to another section of Anemoia Beach. We got talking to a fisherman here, and he was preparing to go out and have his time out alongside the water and catch some fish, and he said he's been doing that for many years and with great success. When driving out on these roads, one needs to remember that the emu has the right of way. It was at the campground here at Yangi Bay that the bitumen road finished, and that was as far as we were going, so we had a quick drive through the campground and then we made our way back to Coffin Bay. Not only was it the Coffin Bay National Park that we wanted to have a look at whilst here, but it was the beaches that were north of Coffin Bay that we wanted to explore as well. All of the roads that were going to take us to these beaches today were unsealed roads, but once again in great condition. The first area that we called in to have a look at was Dutton Bay, and it's got its own jetty and once again located in some very beautiful picturesque bay area. From Dutton Bay we made our way over to Farm Beach, and the countryside was green, the water was blue, and it was just picture perfect. The beach area here at Farm Beach is very firm, quite good to drive on, and we did notice that some people were launching boats from there as well, and certainly a very pretty area. Not really warm enough for anyone to be out swimming, but I would imagine it would be a great swimming area during the warmer period of the year. From Farm Beach we took the 4-kilometre drive that was going to take us to Little Douglas, and with all the waterways out there, very pretty indeed. From Little Douglas we then made our way over to an area called Frenchman's Bluff. Fairly large area this one, with a couple of campgrounds, and it was nice to be up on these cliffs with very little wind blowing at us. The road that was taking us into this part of the coastline was quite easily accessible with a conventional motorcar. The next area that we're heading for now was a place called Coles Point, and this one here was very popular with the swimmers, and quite a crowd there on the day. On the northern side of the point you've got this very protected bay, and it made it ideal for swimming. Even though at times I say that there may be a lot of people about on a beach, and when I do a recording it shows that there's very few people there, you need to be aware that I respect their privacy and try and avoid capturing people on the camera. Greenly Beach was another area that was quite busy on the day when we were there, and when you see images like this you can understand why people go to it. So many protected bays that offer great swimming locations. Located at Farm Beach is the 100 Years of Anzac Memorial, and that's also at the start of the road that will take you down to Gallipoli Beach. Gallipoli Beach here got its name from the movie Gallipoli, and the beach scene that was in that movie was actually filmed here at the beach that is now called Gallipoli Beach. It's a 4-kilometre track that takes you out to Gallipoli Beach from Farm Beach, and we thought we'd taken the wrong turn somewhere out along the road, and I put the drone up to look for it, and I could see that we were on the wrong track, but it's a very rough and rocky road and something that you would never ever want to try and get there in a conventional motor vehicle. Once you get to the car park, there is no signage to tell you where to walk to be able to view Gallipoli Beach, and we followed a path, and we were lucky enough that it brought us out on the cliff top that allowed us to look down over Gallipoli Beach. How movie makers find these areas that are suitable location with the terrain that they're after to make a film is beyond me, but it's certainly a very beautiful spot. We were running out of time, but we believe you can get down onto this beach, and it would certainly be nice to be able to walk down along the beach. Now we'll end this video here, and in the next video we'll be starting off where we leave Coffin Bay and heading up on the other side of the peninsula, and scenery is going to be very different on that side. We'll be away from all the cliffs and the hard water, and we'll have a couple of off-grid camps as well. So until that next video goes up, you take care and look after yourself.